There's always been something captivating about a great duo. The special highlights that play off of each other, the fascinating way they rise in their most dire moments, and the visibly fragile balance holding them together. It's a constant push and pull, an almost combative exchange that molds each player, drawing them away from their nature and towards their potential. It rarely feels comfortable and hardly feels sustainable, but the question is never will it last forever. It's how much can they accomplish before the clock runs out.
1-2. Baddest duo ever, Superman and Batman.
Kobe Bryant with a tip jam. Complimented each other as well as any two Laker players in history.
Some franchises can stomach the rebuilding cycle. Blue-collar basketball towns where doing things the hard way is a point of pride. The Los Angeles Lakers are simply just not one of those franchises. After the 1995-96 season resulted in a first-round exit, the arrow was pointing down for the purple and gold. Jerry West knew the city like few people know anything. He had worn its crown and memorized the weight. No one else understood just how much it loved winners and how quickly it moved on from anything else. The Nick Van Exel, Vlade Divac's pick and roll wouldn't be enough. The Lakers needed real star power to keep the attention of the Golden Coast. So the logo got to work designing a new age duo to carry the Lakers into the future. The first step was a gamble, trading Vlade Divac to the Hornets in exchange for the first guard to be drafted in the lottery after jumping straight out of high school. A perimeter prodigy with enough style and substance to take the City of Angels by storm, Kobe Bryant.
Nice move. Wow, did you see the move by the kid? That's Kobe.
Next up was the biggest free agency steal in modern history, signing the Big Diesel himself, Shaquille O'Neal.
Dunk. Shaquille O'Neal and he's fouled. Against Dudley. Shaquille O'Neal was so powerful on that move.
West had his work cut out for him. Shaq had concerns about the media scrutiny, worries about timelines, fears of tarnishing his reputation. But after countless meetings, detailed presentations, in a single summer, Jerry West assembled the inside-out duo of his dreams. This was his magnum opus, a core so unfathomably talented and stylistically complementary, it had the potential to warp the league around it. But for now, it needed time. Shaq needed to refine his game on both ends. Kobe needed to build his body up to be prepared for NBA-level physicality. And more than anything, the two cornerstones needed to get used to each other. They were different, entirely antithetical in just about every way imaginable. The big man was jovial. He did his best work when he was relaxed, when the people around him were smiling and the air was light. His partner in crime was a stark contrast. The kid from Philly was stoic and abrasive. He loved silence and solitude, cultivating an intense and singular focus before every game, practice, or workout.
But this kid right here, mark my words, now, and I said this earlier in the season, is going to be unbelievable.
It didn't take long for them to run headfirst into these contradictions. Kobe kept all his teammates at arm's length with matter-of-fact responses, and Shaq let the front office know he had no interest in babysitting. It was uncomfortable. Thankfully, talent goes a long way, and at the end of their first season together, the Lakers were 56-26. In the playoffs, they took down the Blazers in 4 games, before running into a veteran Jazz team who quickly put all of their flaws under the microscope. O'Neal struggled against the hard-nosed Utah frontcourt. Bryant looked his age in a series that demanded more from him. By Game 5, LA was down 3-1, backs against the wall in Salt Lake City. Late in the fourth, Shaq fouled out of a close game, leaving head coach Del Harris with a decision. He had Nick Van Exel, Eddie Jones, and a solid rotation of proven contributors. But he knew what he had to do. There was only one guy who could carry the offense through this. And in do or die moments, age means nothing. Harris turned to Kobe, putting the ball in his hands stands in the final possession of a tie game. He drove, stopped at the elbow, pump faked, and threw up an air ball. In overtime, the Lakers stuck with him, funneling Bryant looks whenever they could. Sadly, it wasn't his night. Kobe would airball 3 more times as the Lakers fell by 5. The media killed him before eviscerating Harris for trusting a 19-year-old in such a crucial moment. But on the bench, the big fella was paying attention. He wasn't counting the misses. He was watching the intensity, the drive, and unflinching commitment even after a compilation of loud failures. The public would draw their fleeting conclusions from the lowlights. That was the way of the news cycle. Inside that locker room though, the biggest voice took control of the narrative. They had their differences, but one thing was certain: the kid wasn't scared. The next 2 years were tumultuous. Kobe's ambition grew with his skill. Every offseason, he disappeared into the gym, trying to will his game to new heights through sheer obsession. Shaq, on the other hand, focused on recovery. He spent his summers away from basketball as he attempted to return to the hardwood, rejuvenated and refreshed. The approaches worked for them individually, but not together. Kobe wanted recognition for the hours he logged in silence. Shaq saw his demands as selfish interruptions to team rhythm. They both expressed their displeasures to reporters. They argued over strategies through media proxies rather than discussing their disagreements in private, gradually turning up the heat until they approached a breaking point. And then they'd start winning. Both sides would repent, make the necessary concessions, and in those moments, Jerry West's vision was brought to life. All they needed was consistency, some third variable to enter the equation and stabilize things. Someone with a Zen-like understanding of egos and group dynamics. They began their search for the missing piece after dismissing Del Harris following a rocky 99 season. The search didn't last very long. Phil Jackson had recently ended his iconic tenure with the Bulls, and the Lakers had a roster potent enough to lure basketball's favorite hippie to California. With Jackson in charge, things came into focus. It wasn't perfect. The Los Angeles Times still had plenty of quotes to print on the front page, but at the end of the season, the Lakers were 67-15, rolling through the Western Conference.
I just see Kobe has this building completely on fire. Shaquille O'Neal, up high, oh my goodness. Kobe Bryant, NBA MVP, Shaquille O'Neal.
After surviving the first 2 rounds, they found themselves in a dogfight with the Trailblazers. They're polar opposites, a crew of weathered vets rejecting traditional team structures. They had no go-to guy, no clear number 2, just a group of tenacious competitors committed to the same goal. LA took a 3-1 lead, then Portland came storming back, tying the series up and forcing a Game 7 back at Staples Center. The expectation was the Lakers would band together, protect their home court, and punch their ticket to the finals. But through 3 quarters, reality was reminding all of us how unpredictable it was. The Blazers were out executing LA. Rasheed Wallace looked unstoppable. The double teams were neutralizing Shaq, and Kobe couldn't make up the difference on his own. Down 15 with 10 minutes to go in the game, it felt like that ever-elusive search for cohesion would be their downfall, a continuation of their insistence to dance around greatness, stubbornly clinging to the beat of their own egos regardless of the consequences. But of course, in typical fashion, they figured it out at the last possible moment. Kobe started picking them apart from the perimeter, letting the game come to him, reacting to the defense, giving into the flow rather than directing it. Shaq got more intentional, more precise with his positioning, and increasingly rugged with his physicality. Gradually, the fans rose to their feet. With each pull-up and putback, the lead shrunk until the Lakers took control. Up by 4 with 45 seconds to go, LA looked to Kobe. 4 years after his shortcomings in Salt Lake City, a more mature version of the same kid blew by Scottie Pippen and left the ball at the rim for his co-star, and Shaq took care of the rest, running down the court with a look of pure shock in his eyes, sharing the same realization as every basketball fan watching. If they kept playing like this, no one was stopping these two. Kobe, Shaq, and the Los Angeles Lakers took over the basketball world. Back-to-back championships, parades filled with enough personality to captivate Hollywood, a non-stop tour of can't-miss entertainment. There were bumps along the way. The barbs spoken through journalists continued. The unease in the locker room never fully went away. You wouldn't find the team's iconic duo getting lunch together on your average Thursday. And in some games, they seemed entirely uninterested in playing with each other. But when it mattered most, they had each other's back and came through with regularity. After winning the first title in 2000, they dominated the entire league on their highly acclaimed encore in 2001, drowning their problems in champagne and sunshine once again. Heading into 2002, the Lakers had a chance to do something truly historic. Winning a championship was one thing, and repeating was another. But winning 3 in a row, that was a sign of a defining dynasty, a rare empire that leaves a permanent mark on the game and the culture. The usual preseason media blitz was fairly tame. What tension did arise throughout the season wasn't born out of contrast. It was the result of increasing similarities. Kobe wasn't just a developing two-guard anymore. He had arrived, the premier perimeter force in the league with a magnetism and on-court impact that stood toe-to-toe with Shaq. That ruffled some feathers. Shaq wasn't thrilled to watch Kobe's streak of 40-point games in his absence that year, or to look to the stands and find more number 8 jerseys than 34s. The guard was changing, whether the big man wanted to admit it or not, but at the same time, it hadn't changed yet. For now, the Lakers ran the triangle, and the defining point of that triangle was the superhuman force down on the low block. LA rolled on to a 58-win season and coasted through the first 2 rounds, before they met another collaborative group of understated superstars who had no intention of backing down. Rick Adelman had the Kings humming like never before. Chris Webber, Peja Stojakovic, Vlade Divac, and Mike Bibby, 4 all-star level talents seamlessly playing within one system. Everyone understood their role. No one gave in to their egos. They were a monument to sacrifice and collective preparation, an ode to Sacramento fighting back against the personification of Los Angeles. Basketball fans were treated to a classic series filled with intrigue, icons, and real hatred.
Like I said, I'm not worried about the Sacramento Queens. Write it down, take a picture, send it to them. I don't care.
And the Lakers face adversity. Here's Bryant to steal and a run out. Right corner. Oh yeah, Bibby with 4 points in a row. And it's time for Sacramento to stand up to this Lakers club.
It's as though they've been bullied their entire existence, and at some point, you gotta punch the bully back.
After 5 games and one night, Kings fans will never forgive or forget. The Lakers found themselves in unfamiliar territory. They'd played in Game 7s before, but only at home. This time they'd have to pull a win out of an Arco arena filled with resentful Northern Californians hoping to herald the end of the Shaq and Kobe dynasty. It went back and forth all night long. Streaks of harmony, flare-ups of dysfunction, long stretches of that uneven equilibrium they knew so well. At the end of 4 quarters, the game was tied. Kobe was forcing the issue, leading the game in field goal attempts as he tried to take his moment, and the Kings had prepared for exactly that. They were shading over towards Kobe, anticipating a forced shot over a good contest, which was a better outcome than a Shaquille O'Neal post-up, especially against a battered Vlade Divac and a bruised Scott Bullard. They were betting on Bryant's nature and expiring patience. If they could get him to force up 4 more shots in overtime, the numbers favored Sacramento. Nothing undoes a tired empire like hubris, but nothing stitches it together like wisdom. We don't know what they talked about in that huddle, what offhand quote Phil Jackson pulled out, but the Lakers' game plan in overtime was clear. Get the ball to the big man. LA took 5 field goals in that 5-minute period, and every single one of them left Shaq's hands. His 6 points matched the Kings, and some well-distributed free throws took care of the rest. The Nets hardly stood a chance in the finals, and somewhere under the California sun beating down on that 3rd parade, Kobe's fingerprints were still on the ball he passed up, shimmering beside a trio of Larry O'Briens.
Never
After that, it started falling apart. Shaq's prime was fading, Kobe's was only beginning, and that shift broke the fragile approximation of balance they were used to. A few years later, Shaquille O'Neal walked off the court as a Laker one final time, with blue and red confetti escorting him to the locker room. The end was followed by 7 years of animosity, from post-championship quips to nightclub raps. A little childish, and the only way this saga could have ended. It was never headed for a storybook finish. In truth, there never really was room for both of them on the court, and really, that wasn't unique to them. Run through the halls of basketball history, and you'll find a select few who tried to do something unprecedented, attempted to put two generational forces on the floor at the same time, and more often than not, it ended with a little bit of hostility. Maybe in a perfect world, those pairings last forever, but not here, not in basketball. There's a certain switch of competitive absolutism that has to be flipped in order for a great talent to become a great player, and it's not something that can just turn off. It's not just about winning every game, it's about winning every practice, every drill, and every interview, and arguably staking their claim as the guy. Kobe had to be Kobe, and Shaq had to be Shaq. But for 7 extraordinary years, a world of flip phones, Haggy t-shirts, and DVDs was ruled by two once-in-a-lifetime players. They fought, crossed lines, let surface-level differences spiral into oversized disputes, and every single time, they figured it out in the end. America's favorite TV show with its favorite heroes, shot right in the sunny hills of Los Angeles. No duos last forever, they're just not designed to. But through all the petty squabbles and battling egos, Shaq and Kobe did things the world of basketball hasn't seen before or since. The fall was every bit as frigid and inevitable as we expected, but man, the moments before it were something special.